Hello, everybody. So nice to see everybody here. So I would like to welcome you to our panel discussion, Women Who Rise in Tech. It's an event organized by Public Diplomacy State Department and powered by Social Innovation, Found.ation, and US Mission. And thank you very much, everybody. So I would like to start by welcoming also our guest speaker. So first of all, Mrs. Maria Syrengela. She is the Deputy Minister for Demography, Family and Gender Equality. She'll be with us via Zoom. And now we're used to this kind of communication. We also have with me Dimi Athanasopoulos. Here you can see him. He's actually the CEO, the chairman of Involve Entrepreneurship, and the Greece representative of Libra Group's Social Responsibility. Okay, now we can see everybody. And last but not least, Efi Lazaridou, CEO of Generation AG Greece, New Agriculture for a New Generation. Hello, everybody, and thank you very much for being here.
Recording in progress.
Hello, thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. Hi to everyone.
So I would like to start our conversation by a personal story. I'm a reporter. So I came here, I visited the Thessaloniki International Fair to do some reporting, to cover stories, to see what I'm going to write about. So at one point, I saw a very interesting youth-led business. It was about geolocation. It was about geolocation, geomapping, and how actually they use these technologies to create cultural 3D maps. I started talking to the young lady who was there. She was a lady, and there was a young man. So let's say Katerina. I started talking to Katerina and asking information about what's the business about, what they were doing. She was one of the experts of the company. At one point, let's say Yorgos, let's call him Yorgos, joined our discussion, and actually he took over the discussion. So he actually tried to tell me, all right, look at this, look at that, we're doing this and we're doing that. And Katerina stayed silent. I looked at her, trying to encourage her to talk to me, but she couldn't. When I needed to take actually the contact details to do the follow-up for the story, I asked Katerina, and I told her, okay, I see that you have a gender balance in the company. There are two of you, one woman, one man. So actually, I'll ask for your phone number, and I'll call you when it's about the interview. I said, Nicholas, gender balance, right? So I think he got the point. Unfortunately, in my career, we see many, many cases like this. And I think that this is the root of the problem. So it's not only about skills. It's not only about knowledge. It's something deeper. So in our conversation, I'll try to see what is the problem with women empowerment and women in tech, and how we can solve it. Mrs. Syrengela, have you actually had similar experiences like the story I just described?
Yes, of course, and I think every woman has an example to say, and I have many examples. I will say one of them. When I was interviewed, I was 25 years old. I was asked if I was planning to have kids in the near future. And I was really surprised because they were not asking me about my qualification or about my what I want to do in the job, but they were asking me about if I have a family planning. And this is a stereotype that, an example of stereotype that many women because many women have to face many times. And for example, some months ago, I heard from a 23 years old lady that was asked that she was asked the same question if when she was interviewed, if she was planning to have kids.
Probably, Mr. Athanasopoulos, this is not a question that a man actually would have during a job interview. Do you have similar negative examples in companies and company cultures?
Absolutely. So first of all, I would like to thank the organizers, thank the US Embassy, thank you, Alexia, and of course, all distinguished women we have on this panel, physically or remotely. So unfortunately, we have grown with stories like the aforementioned ones, and this is so sad. However, just to be on the positive side, we see that there are many, many initiatives out there and a lot of effort to make number 5 of the SDGs, which is gender equality, materialize and become a reality. So I think that it is a deeper, as you said, indeed, issue. It's a cultural issue. It is an educational issue, and if I may, it's a human rights issue. Fortunately, my team consists of 4 ladies, 2 guys. So may I take this unique opportunity and say,
Please
Maria,
go ahead.
Thank you for your services. Agapi, thank you for your services. Christina, thank you for your services. She's not here. And Angelina, of course, right? Last but not least. Besides that, I should thank, just to avoid the reverse discrimination, Costa, thank you, and Alex as well. So,
Live example of the good practice.
and I haven't said the larger one, the larger example and the most prominent one. So in the group I work for, the Libra group, LSP, the Libra Social Programs in particular, the programs are spearheaded by a lady. And all employees in the team, a wonderful, very productive team, are ladies. And we are very proud of that. Of course, I'm the single guy in the team, but I feel like honored working, amongst distinguished and highly productive and cultured ladies. So there are ways to tackle the issue. This is a global issue, and it is a huge problem, a social problem, and there are so many ways we can do that. Empowering women. Education is the first one. Family culture is another one. And if you want to go the other way, even justice is another
Yes, of course.
way of dealing with it. But yes.
I'll come back to you. Mrs. Lazaridou, how all this negative experience that the girl can have during her career can actually affect her psychology or the way she behaves. I mean, you met many, many young ladies who are in the tech or agriculture trying to innovate and trying to be a businesswoman.
Well, I mean, there have been many studies from Harvard Business Review or universities that have been published, and this gender bias in the business sector has consequences. Women are reported to be more, let's say, timid in terms of asking for a raise or applying for a job. We usually believe that we are not as adequate as our counterparts, as our male counterparts are. But I mean, things are changing. We live in an era whereby information is free. We can learn by each other's stories. We can help women be empowered. I'm working in a sector that has up until a few decades ago, a very traditional structure. So even though women, so I'm coming from the agri-food sector, as probably most of you understood from the title of our organization. So in the agri-food sector, businesses include food processing, farming, agri-tourism. So in rural areas, most of the businesses are usually family businesses. So within that framework, women have been very active working, but in many cases, in most of the cases in the past, they have been underrepresented, officially underrepresented. They were not registered as employees, as founders, as owners of a business, or they were registered as part-time personnel. So during the last decades, we have seen a huge trend to shift the situation. Women are becoming more and more, let's say, out there. They are becoming visible. They are claiming their space. They are leading food processing activities related to food and beverage services, agri-tourism activities. And this kind of empowerment is a catalyst for regional economic and social growth, especially in countries such as Greece, whereby the GDP from agri-food sector amounts to almost 9% of our GDP. So apart from giving women the opportunity to claim personal development and financial independence, we give the social fabric of rural areas the ability, the capacity to grow, to have the ability to sustain younger people in terms of keeping them in the rural areas as business people,
and that's
as
the hardest part, I guess.
professionals. Mm-hmm.
So, Mrs. Syrengela, which are the policies that you intend to apply in order actually to change what we are now saying, to empower women entrepreneurship?
Female entrepreneurship and participation in the labor market is indeed the driving force of economic development. Gender equality is the force for economic development. However, before talking about encouraging female entrepreneurship, we must talk about women empowerment. And for our government, the issue of women's empowerment is a key priority. We aim to create a safe environment where women can feel strong and can be ready to make the first step or the next step in their professional life. We believe that without the equal participation of women, there cannot be real development, and there cannot be real social justice and real democracy. And for this reason, but also because we strongly believe that the greatest investment is the investment in human capital. We have created a set of policies to protect and to empower all women, especially in the new conditions after the pandemic.
Can you give some examples?
Today, yes, we are implementing projects aimed at strengthening equality, combating gender and domestic violence. We have started the implementation of the equality label in companies that apply policies of equal treatment and equal opportunities. We want to
somehow the people can know if a company is paying justice to both genders, right?
Yes, of course. We will give the equality label. We empower women with a pilot program, the Nannies of the Neighborhood, to support working mothers and guardians to re-enter the labor market. We aim to create childcare units in big companies for children between 6 months old to 2.5 years old. In addition, we had a new labor law that incorporates with the European Parliament directive on the work-life balance for parents and carers. And for the first time, we had paternity leave. We introduced the paternity leave and the legal framework of parental leave, so it's completed now. We encourage self-employment, even for women who belong to vulnerable groups, such as women victims of violence, because we have many women coming to our counseling centers that they have all the criteria and all the qualifications, but at the same time, they are out of the labor force. So we encourage them and we give them more points so that they can find a job. And lastly, we have the National Action Plan for Gender Equality. One of the 4 axes of the National Plan is women's participation in labor market. So we, as you can tell, we try to remove all the obstacles or many obstacles that women find in their way. We support them so that they can balance between professional and private life and encourage them to chase and achieve their goals.
That's really important. I think many women that now are here and watch us or attend us on live can understand how important it is to take such kind of initiatives. So equality badge, Mr. Athanasopoulos, would be easy for all the businesses to have this one?
Absolutely. It can happen. We are doing it. So just to give you some figures, but before I go there, I can add this. Besides a human rights issue, it is a technical issue as well. So any exclusion to the 50% of the population will generate an inefficiency of 50%. That's a huge amount you have to tap into, right? So besides being humane, besides being fair and just, you have to tap into, I think, my personal opinion, the most effective and productive paragogí, production. That's Genus thilikou, a female a word,
Noun,
right?
yes.
Yeah, noun, female noun, a feminine noun. So I think the pillar of the society is a woman.
I wouldn't disagree with you.
Everyone was born by women, right? So far. So we need to empower women. The empowerment of women is by far the most effective tool of social change, social inclusion, and productivity. So in order to avoid being any vague or ambiguous, I should mention that there are ways indeed to tackle the issue.
Some good practices, you would say.
Exactly. And I can go ahead and list all 9 social programs of the Libra group, one of which is Seleni, the Seleni Institute, which tackles maternity mental health issues and has helped thousands and thousands of families. Stillbirth, child loss, postpartum depression. That is a corporate culture that you can embed in the society and change the society, but you know, each one of us has to be mobilized towards that goal. And remember, it's one of the UN's SDGs. It's the 5th SDG of the UN goals for 2030. The other way is to empower female entrepreneurs, right? Involve has an award. Involve Entrepreneurship throws out there an award every year since 2012. Back in the days when the Greek crisis, you know, and the Greek recession hit all of us here in Greece. So Involve Entrepreneurship came in to support the ecosystem. And when I say the ecosystem, I mean the ecosystem, not only men. So 57% of all our winners throughout these years are women. So this is, inclusive.
Recognition also.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And as I said, 60% of our team members are female. 65% of the lastly thrown out there Pan-Hellenic Entrepreneurship Award, as assigned to us by the Ministry of Education, were female students. So an entrepreneurship contest with 65% of its participants being girls. Isn't that optimistic? Isn't that, positive?
And leading the way actually offers us also role models. Now, Mrs. Lazaridou, we're talking about role models. How mentorship and networking can actually help women?
So let me just quote something from the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. So giving females access to the same resources and education as males could increase food production by women by up to 30%, potentially eliminating hunger for 150 million people. So this says a lot about what we're missing out when we are not empowering the 50% of the human population.
So both of you referred to actual numbers that a business could lose if they would not include women in the right way, right? We talked about 50% and 30%, so these are very strong percentages.
It's a huge percent in terms of food production globally. We know that we're entering a period whereby food security and food safety will be, very important.
Of course,
to tackle.
top of the agenda.
So we need to be mobilizing women. So the answers are there. We just need to implement them effectively. We certainly need education initiatives with embedded mentoring and networking programs. We need special business incentives, especially for women in rural areas. We need support on several fronts. We need state action, which I'm very happy to hear from Mrs. Syrengela that this is actually being done now. We need state action for family-related challenges, such as daycare. We need fair representation in the public dialogue, in the public speaking opportunities. We need to promote role models, and these role models need to be contemporary. We need to move beyond stereotypes and celebrate women that have chased their dreams. And in the agri-food sector, this has a direct impact. So in our programs, and this is a sector whereby farmers and animal farmers are mostly men. We have more than 35% women participants, especially in the programs that are focused on graduates, food technology graduates. the ratio is reversed. So we have more than 70% women participating. The successful applicants are women by 70%. And let me give you just another example. We have an acceleration program specializing in cottage industries. These are small food processing units that are run by farmers in rural areas. So this year, 30% of the applications came from women founders, women business women.
Who started their, are going to start their own business, right? So they need more
they
skills.
already had their small business. The application ratio was 30%, but the successful applicants who actually joined our program, the ratio for women was more than 55%. And that says a lot about what women can accomplish with their determination and focus and capacity when they are given the same opportunities as their male counterparts. This is something, this is food for thought for everybody, and certainly for my team, which is a very balanced, gender balanced team. We have, I think we're the same number in male and female employees.
Mr. Athanasopoulos, right? Yeah. The same number of equal numbers. Okay, that's great.
Yes.
That's great. And I think this is what is actually working. So we understand that something is changing, right? So we're in the right direction. Now, Ms. Syrengela, one last question. Are there any challenges that you have found, that you have faced in this, in your effort actually to change things and imply all these new policies?
I say it all the time that we do not lack the legal arsenal. We have excellent laws that guarantee rights, that protect or encourage women. For example, if you ask someone in Greece, everybody says that women and men are equal according to the law. But at the same time, we have a small problem with the implementation of these laws. So for this reason, we have limited effectiveness. And this is not only due to the deep-rooted stereotypes about the potential of women, but also to the opportunities that the state in the past gave to women to become stronger. In addition, we have the crisis of COVID-19 that affected women the most. Before COVID-19 in Greece, we had the economic crisis, and we have gender-based and domestic violence, which is a major and constant issue that
it has been increasing, unfortunately, during the pandemic.
It is something that we have to fight, of course, and to overcome. And the protection and support of women and girls is what is our number one priority. And despite all the difficulties and all of the difficulties that came from the pandemic, now we are trying to diversify our policies in good time and work towards. We have the national, as I said, strategic plan. For the first time, every ministry will have exact programs with milestones that concerning gender equality projects. And this is something that we are now trying to go forward, and for this reason to empower women, and of course women entrepreneurship.
This is very, very important. Leading by example is something we're waiting to see. One last comment from you, Mr. Athanasopoulos, one last comment from you, Mrs. Lazaridou. Maybe now we have the legal tools. Now we have also, let's say, the state, of course, support. How can companies can actually take advantage, let's say, but in a very positive connotation of the new tools that the state will give in order to finally pay justice to women and give the same opportunities to them?
Alexia, I think you said it. You mentioned it, lead by example. You do it in Kathimerini, you do it in the national broadcaster. Companies should definitely throw out their programs, social programs. We are doing our humble part. Libra internship program has employed hundreds and hundreds of women, and not only women, but mostly women. And we are so proud. I'm personally very proud of that, because this is empowerment on steroids. Why? Because you empower a young lady, a young man, and you give them tools for their arsenal. You give them experience, because all employers ask, require, request you to have experience. So we give that, I mean, their job gives that, offers that single opportunity. Social programs can really instill not only hope, but real culture, not in families, not only families, but in society, community, and therefore society in general.
So social responsibility schemes and leading by example the same companies, right?
And having governments and leaders in the political sector like Mrs. Syrengela leading by example. So, and like of course Effie.
And giving the right message.
Yes, absolutely.
Mrs. Lazaridou, you told us that something is changing in agriculture, that we have many positive examples. A final note about how you can still further empower these women, and what was the thing that actually made the wave turn over? How we change the situation and how we'll do more to succeed much more things?
Well, leading by example, of course, and supporting and promoting role models. I think this is what gives inspiration to younger generations and shows them the way, shows them that their dreams can be a reality, can become a reality. So we have to showcase these women that have been, doing that successfully in a way that they have a balanced life. The life that they want to live and not according to any kind of stereotypes. So we need to promote these models and we need to support them in different levels. So mentoring, education, networking, giving them the ability to speak in public about their experiences, getting the word out to schools, to younger generations. This is going to create a difference for next generations. And we have to think and act beyond the urban centers. We need to think and act for regional, rural areas that are sometimes they're not in the forefront of this kind of changes. So we need to focus on these areas and help women chase their dreams beyond any kind of social bias.
And it's also, I think, our role, media role, to showcase and present these positive stories and actually empower and inspire other women to follow this path. I would like to thank you, all of you, for participating in this wonderful discussion. Hope that we gave the right message and a hopeful message to all the young ladies and boys out there. I would like to thank our organizers and say that on 15th of September, right, Stella, we also have an education seminary that you can actually attend. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.